scary.
The Emperor has foreseen a new threat rising against him. The Podwans Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome again to another episode of the Podwans Podcast, where we're talking tonight about our first rewatch of the first season of Teletubbies. How you doing?
Yeah, let's go.
Doing pretty good.
Good. Anything new and exciting going on in your life right now?
Besides planning a wedding, not much.
Who are you getting married to?
She was on. No, it's not to our guest.
We have a guest.
A
Well,
guest.
not really a guest.
Not really a guest. Well, I'm glad you're getting married. Hereth, who are you getting married to?
Myself, I guess. I don't fucking know.
I don't know if that's legal.
Jill, is Jill an option?
Who's Jill? Tell me about Jill. You're facing the wrong way, Lucas.
No, I was facing. Oh,
There we go. You're staring at my throat. It's very uncomfortable. Anyways, we're here to talk about. We have a new Star Wars show coming out. Andor season 2 is due out next month, so we figured it would be a really good idea to watch the first season of Andor, arc by arc by arc by arc. We started with the first arc, which is kind of the setup, the Ferrix arc. I think is probably the best way to put it. Watching the first 3 episodes of Andor season 1. This show continues to never disappoint, no matter how much we watch it. But that being said, we do have technically a guest. He's been on the Pod Ones a couple times.
Yeah. Do those times even count?
I think he was here for the Clone Wars rewatch. So he's very good at rewatches. He also did a couple Rebels rewatches. I'd like to introduce to the stage the one, the only, the magnificent, the buff, the burly Char J.
Something's never.
You're damn right.
Charlie
Look at this
Johnson,
drip.
how
Look
are
at this
you?
drip. Look at these Spider-Man.
Char,
I'm
Char,
great.
Char, now Char, you're just missing the Disney years, and then you can recreate the
I think wait.
Thank you, Disney Star Wars.
I got
Tell me you
chains.
have
I
it
got
on
chains
hand.
here. I got chains here. What's it?
Those are
Oh, did
beads.
you get this from Mardi
Those
Gras?
are beads. Those are Mardi Gras beads.
Don't tell
Charlie
Luke-
Johnson,
Don't tell Luke what they're used for. Okay.
They're to show off your big, enormous pecs.
Which is why he hasn't been on the podcast. He's been lifting.
Yeah,
his
he's been
weight.
training.
He's trying to become Fabio.
Charlie, give me an update. Since the last time you were on the podcast, what has been going on?
Well, so the first to preface, the last time I was on the podcast was I think the last episode of Acolyte, which was 8 months ago.
That sounds about
I've
right.
been like in exile. Like Luke put me in exile. This is true.
I
He did
didn't
that.
put you anywhere.
And it was a shame.
dick
It was a
novel.
shame. I felt betrayed, and I couldn't believe it. Like Luke threw me away. It was unbelievable. No, I've been
Woody
just
from Toy Story fucking 4.
What is Woody from Toy Story 4?
He feels
What's
like
that
he
supposed to
got
mean?
abandoned by Andy.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
I'm Andy. You're Woody.
Yeah. Andy from Toy Story 4? That's when.
Andy was at the end of Toy Story 4, was he not?
No, it's Toy Story 3,
I've
my
never
guy.
saw Toy Story
Uh,
4.
No.
Anyway.
Toy
no,
Story.
yeah.
That's Toy Story 3. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah. So since then, I've been in the gym, obviously. That's what I've been doing my time being. I've been getting way more into Magic the Gathering, and I moved to Florida. So here I am.
There
He's
you
a
go.
full Florida man.
But bear down.
What
bear
brought you
down.
what brought you down to Florida?
New job.
New job. All right. What part of
Yeah.
Florida?
Cape Coral, Fort Myers, like
Okay.
Southwest Florida. Yeah.
Right.
That's where I am. I didn't bring any of my podcast equipment with me. I was thinking about it, but I didn't. Because I obviously I was not going to be on the podcast again. Who would have thought?
You are always welcome. You have an invite from me at any time, Charlie.
Hey, don't tell me what to do. I'm the first host of this bitch. Okay.
All right. Here we go. There we go. Charlie Johnson, tell me.
Oh my god.
Andor, episode 1, 2, and 3. The Ferrex arc is what I'm going to call it. This is kind of the setup for Andor. I do like going back to when this show first came out, and they showed I think it was just the first 2 episodes. Like they didn't show the 3rd episode when it first came out.
It was all 3.
Was it all 3?
Yeah, it was all 3.
I remember.
Yeah, it was all 3.
We did a reaction to it. Yeah, it was all 3.
Yeah,
for a lot of the shows they did only the first 2, but for this one particular they did the first 3 for some reason.
Yeah.
So obviously
Because it was
a longer season.
Yeah, it's a 3. It's a 3 episode arc. So
yeah, it's interesting to watch again, getting ready, like all the stuff we've been talking about with season 2 coming out. One of the things that I was thinking about as I was watching it is if Cyril Karn would have just listened to his boss and just swept this under the rug, the whole rebellion thing would have never happened.
yeah. Yeah.
To some extent it would have, but we wouldn't have gotten the Death Star plans. We wouldn't have gotten Luke doing what he did. If Cyril would have just done what he was told,
kept his mouth shut and didn't say
everything would be totally different.
Exactly. Luke. Luke, what did old Gaffer tell Frodo in Fellowship? What did he say? He said, keep your nose out of trouble and no trouble will come to you.
Yes, that is true.
The
the old Gaffer.
Did not watch Fellowship of the Ring. Tragic. But
yeah, it is tragic.
We live and we learn, Alderaan, tragedy. It was fun going back and rewatching those episodes again, because I haven't seen them in a while. I did watch them a lot before, but going back and seeing them again is really cool. It's good. It's a good refresh to get back into Andor, because it's been so long. What, 2 years?
Yep.
2.5, almost 3.
Yeah,
it's almost 3.
yeah, it's been a long time, and going back and seeing Marva and Cassian and Bix and Brasso and B2 and all the characters from season 1, and what's now going to be presented in season 2. It's so exciting to be, just because of what Andor did for the Star Wars fandom. It's the one show that I've been really looking forward to, and I'm stoked.
Yeah, I am very. When I was watching it, I got very, very nervous that is anything going to happen to Brasso? If anything happens to him, that'll be so tragic.
Yeah. And I really hadn't thought of any of those characters until rewatching it, and then I'm like, wait, that's right. At the end of the season, they all, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched,
You're watching a rewatch podcast. Why are you?
Yeah. What are you doing here? They all make it out at the end, right, of season 2, and he
Tim
says
doesn't.
that he's gonna.
Tim.
Well, fucking Tim deserves everything that he got. He's a fucking
okay.
rat.
All right. I don't think Tim deserves what he got. He's
a rat.
He is, but
rat.
Okay, here's the thing about Tim. Tim is a character that was living in a universe that was bigger than he thought it was. What I like about Tim's character in the first 3 episodes is he is a regular person living in an action movie and doesn't realize he's in that action movie. And he is the background character of Star Wars, that gains sentience. And I think he's an interesting character because of that, because he is not doing anything that's so insanely bad, right? That if you saw some guy doing something that you thought would get Alanis in super big trouble, you would probably do something very, very similar. And just be I don't feel comfortable with this guy. This is not good. Why aren't you telling me anything about this?
Literally,
Clovis.
I think there's stuff to take into consideration there. Hold on.
Yeah, no, literally Clovis. But I don't think Tim. No, Tim is not
Not
as like as
seductive and
controversial as
manipulative.
Clovis. Yeah,
Yeah, like
and also working for the separatists.
he makes a mistake. For sure, he does something he shouldn't have done, but it's not like what he was doing wasn't trying to like bring the empire down on Ferrix. Like that's not his goal. Like he's trying to protect someone he cares about, and he's going about it the wrong way.
110% agree. He's still a rat. At
Sure.
the end of the day, he is still a rat. He's still called out Cassian, put the fire to the flames, and then he got gacked for it.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. Like it's sad that he doesn't make it out, because like this is a character that could have learned, like, and could have like moved past his actions and understood, and we could have had like a really good, like you could have had a really good like Jedi story parallel without involving any Jedi, of like, hey, like here's why attachments are bad, here's why you need to trust like the people you're with, and understand like if they're involved in something that's like bigger than you understand, like you need to understand that. And I like him as a character. I like the fact that he does have a fuck around find out moment. But yeah, like I think he's such an interesting choice to have in there. But yeah, like these first 3 episodes are great.
But I do want to take it back to like the first opening scene, because like rewatching it, like obviously removing the gall of from when you're first watching it and being like, oh my god, whoa, Cassian just shot a bunch of people, like all that like removed aside. Now seeing the full picture, like, dude, like that opening scene does like, I forgot it was a brothel. I thought it was just like a normal bar.
No, dude, like literally they have like aliens just like fucking like in
like dancing in bubbles.
Like dancing in bubbles. I'm like, I rewatched that and I'm like, wow, you know what? That's if that's the only brothel we get in Star Wars, that's a pretty sick brothel. If I'm gonna be honest.
Hey, I mean, hey, it's nice. Hey, don't disrespect Cy Snoodles now, okay? She had business, all right?
That's not a brothel.
You don't know that.
I think Jabba's palace probably had a brothel-esque quadrant wing.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't have been one that I wanted to go to.
Because you're
boring. No, Luke, you would have gone there. Yeah, you would have gone there.
No, absolutely not. It's nice.
Because you're not a Sigma.
Nope.
But I also love how like Cassian has so much.
I'm not a Ligma either.
Oh my god,
Luke, your wildest hear me out is Padme.
That is a canon event.
That's not true.
My hear me out is Borgullet. We are not the same, Luke.
Yeah, no, we are not. We aren't. We aren't. We wouldn't. No, we are not the same person. You're absolutely right on that.
But
anyway.
I like the
back.
Go ahead.
Let's get back to like the first episode of Andor. So like obviously, which was funny because after rewatching it, I realized this, but I never really said anything. But this is like the first time in like visual dictionaries in canon where like a piece of information about a character was forcefully incorrect because of like to hide his identity. Because Cassian Andor was originally from a planet called Fest.
Yeah. But
he was actually from Kenari. Every single visual dictionary book before 2022 had him as Fest. But that's the first time ever where someone in canon had a fake planet where they were from just to hide their identity. For their job, of course.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I feel like the Kenari storyline is not complete in Andor season 1. And I want, because the first episode, he goes to the brothel on Morlana 1, and he's looking for his sister. And you have, for about half of the season, you do get this Kenari like sub story where it kind of goes to these flashbacks, and then you have like the Republic ship where like it's like separatist people in separatist uniforms on that ship. And it's like there's so many weird things about what happened on Kenari that we don't get resolved. And so I'm wondering if I'm hoping in season 2 that they're like, does Cassian's sister show up?
Ooh.
I was
which is, I mean,
kind
that's like
of.
the main motive of season 1.
I
Which,
know.
I mean, it
What
has to
the-
carry on to season 2.
I know the rule in like television and cinema is if you don't see a body, they're not dead. But I was kind of under the assumption in Rewatch that they were like the entire planet got gassed, or at least that pride like part of the tribe got like
No,
wiped out.
because during the Clone Wars, Canary was used as mining.
Yeah, that when they
Like
go
the-
there, it's like completely gutted with a quarry.
Yeah, gutted the quarry, and you see. I'm pretty sure you see a down LAAT gunship in the quarry. I could be making that up, but I'm pretty sure you can see one. But I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. I think it would be an interesting talking point if she was an Imperial. Like the Republic showed up. They took her in. She was orphaned. She survives the Clone Wars and becomes an Imperial.
I think it's.
Well, I mean,
think
we
it's-
already have like a foundation of who she is. I mean, that's the reason why Cassian goes to the brothel. So it's like,
He's gotten some tip that she's working at a brothel on Morlana 1. Like that's why he's there. Is he's gotten a tip for that. So I'm keen to think that there's something else going on in there that like she clearly got off of Canary, or we're led to believe she got off of Canary. I think seeing her, or even if we don't see her, just like getting a wrap up to that story, but also like I would love for them to explore like what we assume are separatists doing on a Republic cruiser with some toxic gas. Like what was going on there? Because it's like it's a very interesting subplot in the show that kind of fizzles out about halfway through, and we're just kind of left to like Marva takes Casa at the time and then raises him to be part of the Republic and then the Empire. And it's just one of those things that's just like, what happened to the rest of the tribe? What happened with that ship? What happened to everything on Canary? You know,
You leave too many things unanswered.
Yeah,
And I
so
think
I'm-
Star Wars is always known for wrapping up things in a neat bow at the end of the stories. They don't leave a lot of interpretation up to it when they're finishing things.
yeah, tell that to the sequel haters.
Yeah. At the time, I was kind of like, oh yeah, we had this major plot line that was just kind of there in the first half of the season and just kind of abruptly dropped. But I would like it if it was actually kind of a, because obviously we knew the series originally at some point was supposed to be 5 seasons, but I like how that if it is a season 2 thing now, that season 2 is the final season. I like how Tony Gilroy is setting up this kind of like we got like these short-term things in season 1, but we're setting up in the first 3 episodes this very big long-term play that's not going to come back into play until like maybe like one of the last 2 arcs.
I could see, you know, if they're not going to show us his sister and they're not going to show us the rest of Canary, I think what they can do, because like even at the end of season 1, like Cassian still has a little bit of reluctance to him. He's more towards the cause because of people like Luthen and people like Nemec.
Yes.
But I think what could drive him over the edge is if he finds out from like someone like Dedra that the Empire came in and slaughtered everyone on Canary. You know, it's a very dark backstory. It's like your sister's dead. You know, I know who killed her, et cetera, et cetera. You know, that just like,
yeah,
like a huge, like the straw that broke Cassian's back is finding out the Empire came to Canary and wiped everyone out.
I think that's more than
that's
likely.
Also a thing too, because here's the thing: because the Empire likes to conjure a lot of stories to cover their asses sometimes. Like with, for example, A New Hope,
Canary mining incident.
Like in A New Hope, when Vader's on the board and he was like, when they're trying to find the plants and like inform all the senators that everyone aboard was killed. Like obviously that wasn't the truth.
Well,
they just wanted to cover it up because they don't want news to get out about something like that happening.
I mean, look at during Rogue One when Krennic shows up to Vader's castle, and he says that he says, "Oh, we've informed the Senate it was a mining disaster." But like you're absolutely right though, Char, because they make up stories to fit the narrative and like Mask of Fear, how that paints how our political climate is now is very much like the Empire, making up stories to make things make sense.
Not to jump totally onto Mask of Fear, I don't know if you've noticed how many Alphabet Squadron references are in that book.
None.
It's
I didn't. I didn't. I
It's
didn't.
insane.
I don't. I. You'd have to tell me about them because I still can't get over the first chapter. I think the first chapter is really what got me.
So there's a point, and we'll jump back into Andor in a second. I believe it's Mon that's talking to a senator from a system that has a black hole at the center. And he's like, I don't think you understand. Like my civilization will be gone in thousands of years because of a black hole. Like the whole system orbits around a black hole. He's a senator from Cerberon.
Yeah.
That is almost all of Shadowfall takes place on Cerberon.
Okay.
Yeah, they reference Necronus, which is the planet that Irka Quell destroyed. So like, yeah, there's lots of little things where it's like, oh, there we go. Alexander Freed's like, I'm getting my story told one way or the other. But that being said, like I do love the way that, kind of episode 1, it's crazy going back to it because like there's so many characters that we haven't seen yet that are not in episode 1. Like Dedra's not there. Most of the ISB is not there. Marva hasn't shown up yet.
Cyril's
like Cyril's in the first episode. Cyril is
Cyril's mother. Cyril's mother.
Cyril's mother is not in there. You're right.
Right.
The greatest side character.
I love Cyril's mom. She's so good. But yeah, like it is wild. Like just like when like even when characters aren't like the primary focus of like a season, or they are primary focus of the season, they don't show up till later. But that being said, episode 2, going back to it, where we do get some of these characters, is really good. All of this show is really good. I'm glad that we get more of like, we start getting more of Luthen. We get a little bit more of this is where like the quarry shows up on Kenari, and when we do see that whole thing. But I think this is just like where I think a lot of people stopped watching at episode 2, if that makes sense. When this show first came out and it was like, it was kind of boring, as they stopped at episode 2, because episode 1 kind of starts off with a bang, and episode 2 kind of establishes a little bit more of the lore going on. And then it's not until episode 3 when things really go off.
I think a lot of people didn't realize with Andor, obviously, with the way that the show is set up, it's very much like Tony Gore. I think it's its own, like you could kind of sector into their own movies. It's like episode 1's Act 1, episode 2 is Act 2, episode 3 is like Act 3, and it just wraps everything up. So I think a lot of people were like not realizing that was the structure of the show, and just kind of tapping out before seeing how everything wrapped up. Because Gen Z brain rot like, oh, didn't get enough action, show bad.
Yeah, because like you have Cassian go, you meet Marva in this episode, and we get more of B2, which is great. B2 is incredible. I love B2. I love like that one line in episode 1. It's just like, it's like, I have enough power to lie, and then he's like, oh wait, no, that's 2 lies. I need to go recharge.
The fact that he needs to recharge to even lie is also very endearing. Which is interesting, because then you make him more human. Like, to think about it, it's a lot harder. It's a lot more work, a lot more effort to lie than to just tell the truth.
Yeah.
So I love that inner humanity that B2 inhabits in himself. It's just little things like that just make your mind kind of think. It's funny.
Yeah. Because like we don't we don't get a lot of, like I said, we don't get a lot of action. You get introduced to Luthen in this episode. We get a little bit of the backstory. This is where we see the Republic cruiser crash, or not where we see it crash. They go to the crash site, and I think it's just one of those episodes where I don't want to call it filler. It just builds upon the show. Like this is kind of like first episode sets everything or shows you everything that's going to be the show is going to be about. Second episode is more about building everything. But yeah, like this is where we get, I think, the most important people outside of Cassian is you get Luthen, you get Marva. We still don't get. Dedra's not in this episode.
Dedra's not until the next.
I think it's episode 3 is when she pops in. I might be wrong.
I think it's all Donnie because I don't think she appears in the first arc.
I might be right. But that being said, like I think it's interesting. I think this goes back to like I want to see where that arc on Kenari goes. Because I don't want to say it's left off here because they still bring it up, but we don't really see much more from it because this is where Marva takes Casa with her, and I'm just like I want to see more of this, and I do like that Cassian still. He's presented as like this like scoundrel character, like that you can't trust Cassian Andor, like a lot of people like you still owe me money, all that stuff, and he's just trying to get favor after favor after favor. And I like that we start here and then you end up later, almost where we're at Rogue One.
Well, it's like relating Andor to like obviously now the show is removed, and like obviously when it was coming out we could relate it to like real world politics, but like. Really looking at the way that like Kenari's culture is, and like almost like obviously Marva is intended as a good character, but almost like this weird like sensation of like Cassian getting Casa getting colonized into Cassian is just this very. It's really weird on rewatch because it's like obviously like seeing the full picture, like okay, this is where the story's going, but like looking back into like 1700s, 1800s type of history, it's kind of like there's a really good parallel there with like the galaxy at the time kind of forcing people to either join with the Republic or with the Separatists, and you're getting colonized one way or the other. And it's like if you don't speak basic, you're not like as valued as other like people in the galaxy. So I think
it's kind of like the Holes reference.
Yeah.
I'm tired, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn bad. Get to shoveling.
You've insulted my beverage of choice. Therefore, you've insulted me.
Yep, pretty much.
Good old Brasso. That's one guy that I'm gonna love to see in the next season.
Oh, yeah, like I'm so excited he's there. Just like I said earlier, like, I'm gonna be so devastated if he doesn't make it through. Like he deserves to make it through.
Speaking of important
characters that I want. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. Speaking of important characters that introduced in episode 2, we're forgetting the most important character, Hammer Guy.
Yeah, Hammer Guy. Yeah.
The moment I saw your drumsticks, I'm like, it's going for the anvil hitter. Yeah.
I loved it. Like I think in the trailer, that was the first thing we saw from Andor was the hammer.
Yes.
Like, and I was like, what is this show going to be about? This is interesting. Yeah, like I love that. I think it's the end of it's the end of the episode where Luthen is talking to the passenger on the bus or the train that's going to Ferrix, and they kind of have like just a very basic generic conversation, and talking about like the docking fees and stuff like that. Yeah. And I was like, I really like that, like to an extent, Luthen can kind of level with someone like that, despite like him clearly coming here to recruit someone for this huge cause that's going to hopefully, reshape the galaxy. And he's obviously a little detached from the conversation, but like he's taking the time to have a general conversation with with someone, and I like that because it somewhat humanizes him in a way that it humanizes him in a way that contrasts how the pre-More security and the ISB and the Empire operate.
Yeah.
Where it's within the Empire, there's a clear chain of command that they are following. That's like one of the themes of like Dedra and Cyril and everyone in the ISB, down to the pre-More security, and it's just like there's that moment where Luthen is like, you can assume he's pretty high up in the chain of command based on what he's doing, but he's still taking the time just to talk to someone. And I like that about his character, because obviously as we will go on and we see more about what he's about, it's wildly different, but I think it's a cool moment.
Well, it's like I don't know, like the best way to describe it, it's like again, relating back to real world parallels, it's like just encountering a random guy in public transportation. It's like, man, look at the economy, it sucks. It's just like just like the stereotypical, like, yep, yeah, just like, I don't want to get too political here.
He's letting him speak.
Yeah,
the passenger, he's letting him speak. He's letting him have that moment, and I think it's a cool moment. I think it's a very good building moment for her. But yeah, like again, this is I think Nick put it well. This is a good table setter episode where it's just like, let's build upon what we're doing, and then you get into the more action heavy episode of episode 3, which is a really cool episode. I still love when we were in London and I went to the Andor effects panel, and like learning that the whole factory scene or the warehouse scene, whatever you want to call it, like all live action, like no CGI.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you how much it's also saying, wow, that wasn't CGI. Like it just goes to show you how much we use CGI in our entertainment. How much we use it.
In these Star Wars too. Like, hell, look at Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. One of the things, this is when this was before The Force Awakens. I remember listening to a podcast where they were all the reports of what they were doing with The Force Awakens and how they were, they were showing off all the puppets they were using and all the practical effects and all of that. It's like, that's really cool. And in the same way with Andor, it was like, let's not get this confused, guys. Like, the amount of CG that they're going to use is going to be insane. And where we're at now with CGI is 99% of CGI, you don't even realize the CGI. Like, filling in people, filling in cars, filling in vehicles and stuff like that. Like, you don't realize that like a house in the background is probably CGI.
Well, the crazy thing is, because again, I was watching the episode non Disney Plus. I was watching it on the official Steelbook release, and like, now that you mentioned that, like, you could actually see without the compression of like, oh yeah, that was a practical effect. That was practical. That was like practical creature. That was like, you could see the actual like everything. Like, most of it was just like set extensions and other like little minor
things, like the wide shots of Ferrix. It's like very obvious CGI is used heavily there, like to just fill in the gaps. Like when you see the starships, lined up in the yard, like that scrap yard, it's like, okay, like I'm sure that some of those were set pieces, but a lot of that's going to be CGI. It's just static CGI that's not moving. But it's like, I think in episode 1 where it's like the one guy kind of shakes Cassian down and like the big tall alien comes by and it's like, that's a dude in a suit. Like, and I think it just shows that like you can have both 100%. Like, it looks good because it is a guy in a suit and it looks real, and it's like he can look up at him directly and he's not just referencing a green ball on a stick. But yeah, like I think that this episode, I like that this is kind of the turning point for Cassian when you get that scene in the warehouse. Like, I don't feel like it gets talked about enough. Like, the scene in the warehouse, the conversation between Cassian and Luthen is so good.
It's so well written. And the fact that it reads like you're reading like you're literally reading the book, like a book.
Yeah.
The way the dialogue is said, and you can kind of tell, you can kind of get like a little bit of an inference in what they're thinking and how things are said. It just goes to show you that Tony Gilroy can write a hell of a scene.
I think that the thing about Andor that for me personally that sets it so much further apart from everything else, like Disney Plus shows and even the movies, is because it doesn't matter which aspect of Star Wars is your favorite, right? It can be the originals, the prequels, the sequels, the Clone Wars, Rebels, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Obi-Wan
The writing
Kenobi.
of Obi-Wan Kenobi can be your favorite thing in Star Wars.
Mhm.
Anything can be your favorite Star Wars. Like KOTOR is people's favorite thing in Star Wars. The Force Unleashed is people's favorite thing in Star Wars. It doesn't matter. Compared to everything Star Wars has ever done, this is the best writing that has ever been inside of Star Wars. Like from the acting, the dialogue, the writing, all of it, it almost feels out of place because of how good it is. Because like Star Wars writing typically isn't the best.
Yeah,
Whether
it's a little melancholy.
George
Yeah.
Lucas or anyone else, it doesn't matter. I think you're right. There's melancholy, there's whimsy, there's
Cheese.
Cheese and camp are sprinkled in, and like there's a level of it's not taking itself too seriously. Not that it's not taking itself seriously, but it's just like there's a level of like, hey, this is fun, and yes, we're talking about the power converters going to Tashi Station, or a Kaminoan dart, and it's just like it's just syllables George Lucas made up. Like, get over yourself.
It's not syllables, it's symbols.
Yeah, right. But when we get to Andor and you watch something like the warehouse scene, you listen to Kino's speech, Marva's speech, Luthen's speech, and it's just like, you've never gotten this in Star Wars. No, we've never had anything close to this. Like, I think there are some books that have had really good writing in them. I think some of the Timothy Zahn stuff, some of the James Luceno stuff has really, really done well. I think when you look at Drew Karpyshyn's writing and the Old Republic stuff, you get some moments of really good writing. When you look at the Revan novel, it's like, oh wow, maybe Drew Karpyshyn's not a great author. But like, man, just the stuff, like the interactions with Bix and Tim, the interactions with Luthen and Cassian, the interactions with Marva and Cassian, the interactions with Brasso, the interactions with Cyril. Oh, what was it? Cyril and I can't remember the guy's name. The
head
Irishman,
of he's in Game of Thrones.
I also jokingly shout out to Kels for this. Like I always remember this because of him. It's like if I had a nickel for this character or this actor playing a corrupt cop, I would have 2 nickels, which doesn't always happen twice though, because he was in the Batman. Because he's the cop that's like happy fucking Halloween, and like the opening sequence of the Batman. So
yeah.
Like, so it's
Chase, you're referring to the guy who's in charge, not the Irish guy, right? Or the Scottish
guy who joins Cyril on
the Scottish guy.
the ship. Yeah, the Scottish Irish, like the European guy that's like when Cyril fumbles his speech and he's like, good job.
That was one of the most like, awkward, real.
I'm forgetting his name, and
shit.
it starts with an M. His name starts with an M. I'm forgetting.
I can't remember, but like moments like that like I have been to so many like community theater work events, just like public speaking events where someone like fucking blows their fucking load on the speech and it's just bad, and they're trying to like get people motivated and they just say the cringiest, most terrible stuff.
Linus Mosk is his
okay.
Mosk.
Yeah.
And
And like just his reaction of like, it's like, I've seen that before. Like when someone does like some trying to do like a motivational, like, hey, come on guys, we got this. And then everyone's like, you made it worse. And someone has to be like, well said, good job. Glad to have you with us. And it's just like, there's just so many moments there. Yes. Awkward clap.
yeah. The
Like I
fuck
said,
did he just say? None of that made any sense, but all
one of the
right.
realest fucking scenes in Star Wars. Because like I said, we've all experienced that at some point where we're just like,
Oh,
just keep nodding your head,
absolutely.
just
Oh
go
my
along
God.
with it.
Yeah.
It's so
And there's just those moments. I think you have the moments with like B2 that feel very grounded and human, even though it's with the droid, they're like very grounded, very human. You kind of like have these moments where it's like the few moments of humor in Andor still feel very grounded and human. Like the scenes that come later with Cyril's mom, like hilarious, but like if you've ever dealt with someone's mom who is like that, like it's a very real thing. Is it
What?
Luke's? Is it Luke's mom?
What?
Is that
What?
your mom?
Why
Is
are
your
you
mom
pointing at
Cyril's
me?
mom?
No.
Is she disappointed in you?
Luke,
Is she wondering why you don't visit in Nebraska anymore?
hey,
I think
I
she
was there once.
understands why I
That's
don't
all I
visit
need.
Nebraska.
But no, like yeah, like it's just one of those things. I think it just goes back to like the writing in this show being so well done, well crafted, that it just sits above everything else. And like I said, it feels weird at times where it's just like, am I watching Star Wars or like something that was well written? I don't know. It can't be both. Surely it can't be both.
I feel like I'm gonna say this a lot during this rewatch, but like to me, if everything else in Star Wars media is like water, to me Andor is like fine wine. It's like it's very much like the artsy fartsy like Star Wars show, which is it's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
No. Star Wars is boxed wine.
Yeah.
And Andor is aged and properly stored and refrigerated wine. It's been in a cellar for many years, waiting. It's been waiting since 1977 to come out. But no, like I think like this is the episode where you kind of
turn into wine. Let me know.
Yeah.
Shut up, Jesus.
Muscle Jesus.
Literally.
I drink
it's just
my
like
water out of tumblers now. Been doing that. It makes me
Saving
feel
the
more Star
environment?
Wars. Yeah, no, it's good for the environment. It makes me feel more Star Wars. That's good. That's good. You got the protein shaker in there.
Yeah, it's the Grogu. It says, "Do you even lift?"
I love
With
it.
his hand up. It's great.
What's your protein of
and
choice?
my protein of choice is this
God.
bad boy. This bad boy.
just-
I'm gonna be sending you a
a-
case.
Okay. I can't do whey protein. It's not vegan.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's got dairy in it. Right?
Whey is dairy.
Yeah.
It's basically powdered milk that has like it's the protein powder of milk basically. Well, I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but
Welcome back to Star Wars lifting class.
absolutely.
Well.
Attack of the Gains.
Hey, if you guys want to know how to get big in the gym, watch my workout videos on TikTok.
Well,
Those are
like-
some quality lifts. You know exactly what to do.
You can buy Char J's workout course for $29.99. Are
Yeah,
you
if you
tired
wanna
of being a
learn how to-
small loser Star Wars nerd?
Yeah. Okay, next time you're in the
We will
gym,
put
think about doing 501 bicep curls for Padme. Just think about that real quick.
Can't get any girls?
Yeah.
Go from Ben Solo to Ben Swolo.
Do you not want to be Tim and Andor episode 3?
and then revert back to being a stupid ass grifter on YouTube. Couldn't be me.
Oh,
And then get blasted for trying to get into the weightlifting community, and then they call you toxic. Man, couldn't be me.
oh, and also Chase. Of all like
Yes.
the monologues that you've mentioned, like Marva's speech and Luthen's speech, you didn't mention Kino's speech.
I did. I said
One
Kino.
way out.
Yeah.
We are
I
also
mentioned
forgetting
it.
in episode 3
Oh, I thought
we
you were talking
also
about
get
No dirt.
a memorable speech this season. We get the first big speech of this season. This is a reckoning.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that so you have that, you have Kino, you have Marva, you have Luthen, and then you have at the end of the show, you have Nemec's manifesto.
Dude, Nemec's manifesto is bomb.
It's there's so many moments in this show that just hit like there's really good action in this show, and I think it's like important to like feel like this is a fun show. It's not just like fine, classical theater that you're watching. Like episode 3, you have like the speeder chase where they blow up the Premor speeder, and they blast away, and it's like there's that whole fight. You have all the stuff with Aldani. You have the prison break. You have Rick's Road. There's so many moments in the show where like there's good, like Luthen's ship like just like spinning and taking out TIE fighters.
Well, it's like
So good.
even episode 3, like
and then also the
honing
side
in
story with Anto Krieger too.
Yeah,
I'd mention
like
that too.
specifically honing in like episode 3 in particular with its action set pieces. Like I forgot, like I remember like it mostly being like boom, bang, bang, shoot, like bang, bang, like get out of there. Like I forgot like the details of like the ceiling falling down and like having like Luthen like wire it to like where people are just getting picked off one by one by like the ceiling. I'm like, I forgot like the wire work details, and now I'm like that was sick as fuck.
Yeah, lots of cool action moments, but like I do think the hardest hitting moments of this show, like where I think with Star Wars a lot of times the emotional highs often come from action, like
Yes.
Qui-Gon versus Maul,
Anakin
I think
versus Obi-Wan.
Anakin versus Obi-Wan, Luke
Mid-fight.
blowing up the Death Star, like
Yep.
the
Anakin
anytime
blowing
Luke
up
and Vader
the,
fight, it's very emotional.
Anakin blowing up the starship in episode 1.
Oh yeah, that wasn't really emotional, but it was.
I wouldn't call it emotional. It was a moment.
Yeah, I think.
Oh no, yeah, this is pod racing.
It's just cinema.
And I think the sequels follow that. I think there's a few moments that like aren't action heavy. Like there's also like different feelings. Like I do think that like Rey stepping out onto Takodana and like like that is a very like hard hitting moment.
Well, also her seeing hyperspace for the first time.
Yeah.
Speaking of seeing hyperspace for the first time, I do love the ending where it's like cut together, where it's like here's like Casa becoming Cassian, but here's Cassian becoming reborn, and like how it's shot exactly the same, and it's like and like the child actor and Diego Luna do a really good job of like syncing expressions where they're both like adding this like emotional depth to Cassian's character, and it's like obviously like that's on Tony Gilroy and on the directors of the episode. Like they did a really good job of like having it just hone in, and it's like, and also like the final shot of Marva kind of just looking back at Cassian and smiling, and then like it's just this episode is just so good. Like episode 1 is really good, but like this is like some of like I think this is one of the best episodes of the season. Like on rewatch, I'm like obviously like there are obviously there are better episodes. Like,
One Way Out and that fucking.
I'm
Luthen
saying I didn't say
there.
best. I said one of the better. There's a better. There's like
Hereth, I'm gonna jump down your throat.
I think the Eye is the best episode. So take that.
The Eye.
You know, Luke, I love the fact that when like I tell you that I know the Luthen speech, like the whole monologue word for word, and then I would recite it, you'd be like, oh, shut up, but it's also amazing, and I'm like, oh, kick rocks, Nebraska.
Also, yeah. Jokingly going back to the warehouse scene, can we acknowledge like I was laughing at like Luthen's like credit spread?
Well, no, I love the fact. I love the fact that he goes, like the explosives go off, and Cassian looks at him and goes, "What the hell?" And he goes, "Always plan an escape route." Like I placed those detonators there.
Well, no, it's always make an exit plan when you enter the room.
Yeah. Always make an exit. Always, yeah. So I thought them well, and also like the things falling also made it a little bit like, oh shit, this could go really wrong really quick. And as you could see in that scene, they made a point to always be looking at those, if you notice, to kind of just be like, hey, don't forget, those are up there.
I think the show has some of the best set blocking in Star Wars, where it's like a lot of directors I think would have just done how I recalled it, where it's like Luthen and Cassian come in, they barge in, the explosion happens, bang bang, shoot shoot, they run away. But the fact that like they went that extra mile with the ceiling falling, there's like people coming in from both sides, not just from the front door. There's people above shooting down at them, and now they have to figure out how that. And then you have Cassian trying to get the box, and it's like, I love how more layered it is compared to other Star Wars shows, because I think most directors wouldn't have gone that extra mile to like really plan that out and like really utilize the set to its like full ability.
Are we all going to memorize a monologue from Andor to do? Right
I already know
Andor season
Luthen's,
2?
so, but
I know Luthen's as well. I did it for Chaco's video.
I will try. What are you doing?
It's a good one. It's a really good one.
Speaking of underrated monologues in this season, also within this episode, we got the Cassian speech about like if you walk in, you'll just blend in, you always belong speech. Like when he's talking to Luthen.
Buddy.
Oh yeah. It is good. It is good. I like that one.
You mop the floors, spit in the food. They won't notice they're so smug.
They're
Like,
so fat and proud.
God, this show is just it's cinema.
I'm down for what I do. My anger, my ego, my willingness to yield, my eagerness to fight. Set me on a path which there is no escape. I yearn to be a savior against injustice while contemplating the cost, but by the time I look down, there's no
ground beneath my feet. What do I sacrifice?
Some things. No.
I'm damned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them. Good monologue. Great
I
monologue.
burned my decency for someone else's future. I burned my life. Make a
for the
sunrise that
sunrise
I will never see. The ego that
I'm
started
sure
this fight will never have a mirror or an audience or the light of gratitude.
I'm sure this won't be the last time we quote Luthen's speech. It'll probably be like, by the time we get to that arc, it will probably be like the 5th time.
It's such a moment.
Good and one of my favorite parts of that is just the dude just staring at him like, I was not expecting this.
I need your money. I need you, Lottie. We need all the heroes we can get. Fucking Lonnie. God damn it.
But
I
yeah,
hope he sticks around.
Hopefully. But yeah, like
maybe he can redeem himself.
This Andor, the multiple times I've actually rewatched it, and I haven't rewatched a lot of the shows because I enjoy a lot of the new live action shows. I think for me, just TV in general is hard to rewatch. Like I can think of outside of like Star Wars stuff, I can think of like 2 television shows I've like gone back to rewatch, which is like Hannibal and Twin Peaks. It's just because there's just so much to watch, and Andor is a show that I have like put on just right. Like I want to watch some more Andor. Like I genuinely love it, and it's just something that like I'm so excited for season 2. But yeah, I think that's probably right under an hour. Good place to kind of wrap her up, unless you guys have something else you want to touch on for the first episode.
I say there's one thing I want to ask all of you guys before.
Sure.
Just in terms of Andor, before we leave, what's one thing that you think will happen that you don't think will happen, but you think will happen? Because for me personally, I think Kino is still alive.
I think there's
I bet Kino's alive as well. Yeah,
I think there's a chance.
I thought that was confirmed already. Back when season 1 was coming out, they already kind of are like, yeah, Kino survived that. Like, so I think that's also just tragic for Kino. Like we do this a massive one-way out sequence just for him to end up back in prison.
I think B2. I'm with Nick. B2's gonna meet the Maker, and but Cass is gonna take his memory bank or his personality and use that to go into K2.
I've been saying this from the very beginning with Andor, and I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think we're getting the Mon Mothma like Rebels episode where we're going to see the beginning of it and see her actually turn on Palpatine. We're going to get that big fuck you moment.
Well, yeah, because the Gorman Massacre is this season.
I've heard it's over. It's not like just like one arc. I've heard it's like
no, it's
spread
over
out
multiple years. Because remember, they had talked about there was rebellion.
Does. Oh yeah,
yeah, the Gorman Massacre.
That was brutal.
Yeah, it's bad. It's
I've heard it's like
really,
spread over
really
like
bad.
3 different. I think it's the first 3 arcs is the Gorman Massacre. I think it's like spread out really fucking long.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're starting off with it.
I
Oh,
think I think you
God.
could start off with that. To be honest,
Just seen a
Oh,
bunch
yeah.
of innocent people just getting offed. That's
Dude,
crazy.
that's gonna be no. It is gonna be crazy, and then it's gonna be like, well, obviously we see Cyril's there. Cast is gonna be the. It's like the revolutionary, and I think I said this when we were talking about Andor season 2, the trailer. I was like, what if Cassian like shoots at one of the Imperials, and that's what starts the Gorman massacre. That's what he regrets.
Oh,
I've done
kind
things
of
for the
like
rebellion.
like the Rock thing and like
Yeah,
the
just like
revolution.
when that kid throws the bomb at the end in the finale. I think that could be something because remember, Cassian says we've all done in Rogue One, we've all done things for the rebellion.
No, I was talking about like in like history, like when like the kid throws the rock in the protests in the Revolutionary War, and it like starts the whole conflict between America and the Brits.
Kid,
Yeah, it's like the cow
shot
pie
heard
being
around the
thrown at
world. You
fucking
mean?
Yeah.
That's
You
World
mean
War
and
One.
you mean the
Wofford.
shot heard
No,
around the
no, I'm talking about like during the first major protest when they were protesting before the Boston Tea Party,
party?
and
Okay.
there was somebody that threw a rock at a British person, and it just started the first major massacre was in the Revolutionary War, which is what sparked everything to start for America to turn against.
I hope you're not recreating history or making up
No, I'm
history.
saying
We've already got
like
enough people rewriting history all the time.
no, I'm not. Like that's like
No, yeah, I think Hereth's right. I think Hereth's right.
I think Harris.
I saw on the fucking Benjamin Franklin show, like the
Oh
biopic
yeah, the one on Apple
HBO.
TV, dude. That show's pretty fucking good, actually, Hereth.
Because that shows like that's depicted in that. I think it's in the first episode.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, Hereth,
Yeah,
what
you're
what you
right.
said is kind of similar to like when that cow pie was thrown at Joffrey and he decided to just like
Oh yeah,
off a bunch of like innocent people. Like they threw a cow pie at you, so you decided to kill them all.
Yeah, like I think maybe to answer your question, Char, what do I think is going to happen versus what do I hope is going to happen? I think they're going to kill more people than we're expecting them to kill. I think they're going to. I think we are expecting people like Luthen to die. I think we're expecting certain people to die, but I think they're going to like break our hearts.
I agree, but
The
I
not on the
also
Rogue
wanna,
One effect. Yeah.
I want to push
Yeah.
back on that a little bit because I hope they keep a lot of characters alive that more than we kind of expect. Like I hope we get like it would be tragic if like Bix makes it through the entire series and like yeah she's in the rebellion this entire time and we just never saw her. Like I think that would be just
Yeah,
as
like
tragic.
Omega.
Like imagine the final scene of the show is like everyone talking about like after Rogue One, and it's everyone talking about Cassian and like what they meant to him, and they're like, no, this is why we need to keep going.
Yeah. I think people are. I think there's going to be people who clearly will make it. Like people like new characters from Andor that will make it. But I think they're going to get rid of some people.
Do you guys think the mentor's going to show up? You know who I'm talking about from Catalyst? The mentor.
I don't know. I think it's a deep cut.
They could make it work though, because I think Tony Gilroy loves going with deep cuts, and I think it wouldn't be fan servicey.
My hope for a deep cut is Chasna Chaddock. Is my hope for the deep cut character that like even if she's in the background, because they showed us more Cavern Angel stuff, and she was a Cavern Angels pilot at one point, and I'm like,
I think it'd be cool if it was like Rogue One, where it's like you could hear intercoms on Yavin, where it's like Hera Syndulla, come to the Rebel base, like little things like that, where you just hear that over the intercom, just like in the background as ambiance, and you're like, oh, there she is.
It'd be really hard to do that with her.
Or like you hear her call sign, like, that's her. Oh shit.
Yeah, the way you would do it is if they have a fight scene with the Cavern Angels and you hear someone blaring music through the intercom, that would be Chas. But that's my hope for a deep cut is to have Chasna Chaddock show up. Not sure if it's going to happen. I'm not holding my breath for it, but it would be cool. But all that being said, unless there's anything else, I think it's a good spot to stop. We will be back here next week watching episodes 4, 5, and 6, the Aldani arc. Is my personal favorite arc. I love the Aldani arc. I love how it concludes.
We will have a special guest for that episode as well.
Ooh, special guest.
Keeping
Besides
on
Char
my
Char J?
toes.
Yeah, besides Char Char J.
Oh, well, I'll be on here for the Andor rewatch. So you guys don't have to call me a special guest. So I'll be around.
Amazing. That's great to hear. Well, in that case, thanks for everyone for tuning in. Thanks for you guys for chatting Andor with me. I'll start with Luke. Where can we find you all over the internet?
At Jedi Master Eggs on all social medias and at the Pod Ones on all social medias as well.
Amazing. Hereth, where could I find you?
And the way that I'm going to steal this from Char because I'm going to be a dick. The good people can follow me at Hereth Productions on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and I was going to say Blue Sky, but oh my god, I don't fucking use that platform. And mostly
Red
these
Note,
days,
Red Note.
posting on my Instagram sister. No, I deleted that shit off my phone.
Yeah, no. That's going to be a
Nice.
no for me.
Chase, where can the good people follow you?
You can find me on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube at Forward Into the Black. Same with Blue Sky. I have not used it in a minute. I opened it up actually today, funnily enough, and I was like, I don't think anyone's actually using this thing anymore, which is crazy. But you can also find me on Wednesdays at The Dork Place with AJ, talking about video games, talking about stuff, talking about movies and all that fun stuff. And then obviously every Thursday, you can find me here on the Podwans podcast, talking about Andor, talking about Star Wars, talking about whatever we want. And finally, Mr. Charlie, how can we find you on the internet?
I'm waiting for it.
Where can the good people find you on the internet?
Good people, you can find me not really on TikTok much. You can find me on Instagram at Char Char J, of course. Then you can find me at Hammerhead Gym in Cape Coral, Florida, if you want to
Hell yeah.
come bombard
Hell
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
that's where I am.
dox
And
Charlie
And you'll see me
Johnson.
here. You'll see me here every week for the Pop Ones podcast.
Hey,
We talk
Char,
about
you
Andor
didn't,
Rewatch.
you didn't do one thing. I'm disappointed.
Oh yeah, my name's right there, by the way.
Right here.
Oh no,
It's right
it's right
here.
here. I've learned how to do it. It's right
Yeah, it's
here.
right here.
Right here.
You're wrong. You're pointing
You
in
are
the wrong
so wrong.
direction.
You're terrible. All right.
All right. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. We will be here next week, continuing on with Andor's episode 4, 5, and 6. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week.